able to
מה יעשו בכתובתה ובנכסים? Isn't that the question?
בכסובסה ובנכסים הנכנסים ויוצאים ממה. It goes together. It's one expression. נכנסים ויוצאים ממה is נכסי מלוג. That means literally the property that comes in and goes out with her. That means that נכסי מלוג means that if she brings property into the marriage and when she leaves the marriage, if she gets divorced or widowed, so then she takes the nechasim back as is. It means it doesn't make a difference if the price went up or went down. She gets it back as it is. The husband's not responsible to make a price of how much it was worth and give it back. That's called nitzon braza. Nitzon muluk means that she takes it back as is. That's called nechasim v'yosim, with the property that comes in out with her. So who gets that? Who's the yorish of those properties? One case was the ksuba, which we could talk about the manam mosaim, that if he owes her 200 zuz for the ksuba, so who gets that? She died. Her husband died first, and therefore she's eligible to get the ksuba. But now that she died, so who's the yorish? That goes back to the husband's family, that goes to her family. Also, ksuba would include also nefsein son brazil, which we said that's called iron sheep property. That means that why it's called iron sheep, because it stays the same. A sheep that's not iron, so it gets fatter, it gets skinnier, dies. But nefsein son brazil, iron sheep means that it stays the way it is. When she comes in, they evaluate how much the property is worth, $100,000, and then the husband obligates himself $100,000, and then when he divorces her, he dies, so he has to give $100,000, no matter what the property, whatever happened to the property. So what happens to that? So we have all kinds of stupid issues. There's the Masayim, the 200 zuz that he's supposed to give her, and there's the nefsein son brazil, there's the nefsein muluk, all kinds of properties that she bought in. So and she died. Who gets all that? So it seems to be everybody has a handle on it. Not clear why, but you see that the yorish of the husband also has a handle on it, but they have equal handles, the yorishim of the wife, the yorishim of the husband, and therefore they divide it. And Beisil says, I'm going to say the simple words of the Mishnah. Rashi tells us that the Gwan Yavamis and the Baba Basra, it does a lot of surgery on the Mishnah, and it's not simple. So I'd like us to learn for our sake. It seems that Agamor is not going to change the simple pshat that Rashi just tells us to look in Yavamis if you want to, but for the simple words of the Mishnah, it reads simply. Now, the Beisil says it depends which part of the ksuba. Nechasim b'cheskasan. Each one stays in its status quo. What does that mean? Now it explains. Take out the vav of uksuba. Ksuba b'cheskas yoshei abal. Nechasim and nechasim yosemim b'cheskas yoshei av. The ksuba is, which means the mana masayim, the 200 that he's supposed to give her, but he didn't give it to her yet. So it's like muhsek by the husband. Who's the status quo? It's the husband's. Now he has to give it. They have to shell it out and give it to the wife. So that's b'cheskas the husband. So that stays in the husband's yoshim. Also, the nefsein son brazil means that he obligated himself $100,000 for the money that she brought in. So that's he has to give it. It means it's really his. He buys it as if when she comes into the marriage, as if he buys it, and now he has to give back the money, but it's his. So that stays in the status quo of the husband. But the chasma yotzimima, that's the nefsein malug. That's is b'cheskas yoshei ha'av. That means that it's the woman's property. So then it stays in her family. Yoshab is the same way as saying the woman's yoshim. So that's the end of that part of the Mishnah.
Why doesn't the lug belong to the woman?
Because that's what it is. It stays. That's the thing. We'll talk about the whole time.
I don't understand exactly. It means it fluctuates according to its value. So
whatever it is, when she leaves, either because he died or because he divorced her, she takes the property as is. The whole time they were married, he was eating the Paris. They say mulug is like when you have a head of an animal, so they boil it in order to get all the hair off. That's called mulug. I think that's what they say the pshat is. So it means that the property stays and the husband eats the Paris the whole time, but that stays the same. And if it gets more valuable, devalued, it gets flooded, it gets whatever happens, and it belongs to the woman. She takes it out as she came in.
Also sounds like son brazil.
No, son brazil is opposite. Son brazil is when they come into the marriage, they evaluate how much is it worth. $100,000. He writes, I owe you $100,000 if I divorce you, and that's what we do in the ksuba. We write miz, kuk, and kesef, that all of the nadunya that she brought in, we say that it's worth. It's estimated at 100 kuk and kesef, which is some kind of Polish coin, and no matter what happens, whatever the property that she brought in, it got destroyed, it got worth more. It doesn't make a difference. He owes her whatever he said, and that's really the Gemara says in Yevamos really that he bought it. He bought it right now, and he owes her the money if he ever divorces her or dies. But that's not muluk. Muluk means that the property as is. The property as is, she takes it, it belongs to her the whole time, and she takes it back.
Exactly.
What does it mean exact? And if it gets devalued or more.
It's not changed into monetary value.
Right. It's not translated into a certain amount of money, And therefore, when she leaves, she takes whatever it is. It could be worth more or less. It could be lost, and she doesn't get anything. It could have made a lot of money, and she gets that. That's hers. Okay, that's the end of that Mishnah. New Mishnah. The rest of the Mishnah is going to say now that we said yesterday, and this part I did get right. My main mistake was that I said I said that it was Nifsei Sombras. That's a mistake. Nifsei Malug and everything flows. Next case, the halach is going to be that who gives the ksuba? I mean, now she's getting yavam. She means siamim. She's going to marry. She marries the yavam, and if he ever divorces her or he dies, so then she gets the ksuba. She's not going to get the ksuba now because she's going to get married. Or if she gets chalitza, so then he'll give her the ksuba now. If he wants to, doesn't want to marry her. But if he marries her, so he doesn't give her ksuba. But the whole inheritance that he got from his brother is obligated to the ksuba. And they made it very strong over here. It's more than a regular husband. The regular husband, his chasima all obligated to the ksuba. There's a lien on it, but like any kind of a lien. Okay, there's a lien, and he can sell it. And then if ever it has to be collected from, so they'll come to the lekuchos and foreclose on it, take it back. But by the yavam, they made a special thing that he can't even sell. Put a freeze on it. He can't sell it. Tosis points out at the bottom of Pei Aleph why they did that. They made it stronger by yavam that he's not even able to sell it. So now the question is that brother, this yavam, he inherited money from the deceased brother. So what does he do with it? He can't do anything with it. He can't use it. So, but at least you want to make it, should at least be able to draw on it interest, profit. So it's going to say the same thing we said other times. It looks like the same words as before, but before was talking about her property that he's allowed to have the payers. This is talking about his property, but he can't sell it. So also make it generate money. It's a freeze on this property. He can't. So if the dead brother left over money, so the yavam yarshes the money, but he can't do anything with it. So what does he do? He makes a karen out of it that he should be able to generate profit. So he should buy property, real estate with it, and he eats the pears. So it's here. The property that's meshubah to the ksuba, he didn't sell. It's right here. And he has a way of making money out of it. So too, pears atlushim karka is the same thing. Any kind of portables. If it's karka, so that's fine. It's already producing. But if it's pears atlushim, or any kind of metaltalin, so the same thing. Make out of it a principle.
Business with it.
What do we do business?
I don't know. He sells it and then he buys new produce.
No, buy something that will be a Karen. We don't want him to get the money, spend the money. There's a freeze. There's a freeze.
He gets the payroll.
Right, but the Paris is very different than before. The words sound the same, but it's very different. Before, we had the whole couple of pages where that the property belongs to the woman and he has the right to get the Paris.
Yeah.
We call one of the sheshfachot parrot.
Whatever we find, that's an example. But all the cases where it belongs to her and he has the right to get the Paris.
No.
Here is very different. It belongs to him. It's his field.
It belongs to him, but he can't.
But there's a freeze on it that he can't sell it.
But he can still use the payroll.
Yeah, that's what we say. So we say if you have money, you inherited money. So it's a freeze. You can't spend the money. So what are you gonna do with it? Put it safe deposit box. So it's a waste of all the money.
Okay.
So make it into karka, buy karka with it in order you should be able to get something out of it. The karka belongs to you. He inherited the karka. He inherited the money, changed it into karka, and now it's frozen. But he could at least get the payers from it.
He can't get rid of it, but he can use whatever comes out of it. He can make any profit.
So it's very interesting that it's the same words, but it's a different concept altogether.
But he only owns it as long as he's married. If he divorces her, then it goes to her.
And also, then the ksuba will come out of that. Let's say the ksuba is 200 zuz,
Right.
and the
That's why
field,
he's holding. That's why it's
right? But even if it's 100,
Right.
it's 1,000.
1,000, right.
He can't sell anything. They put a freeze on all the karka because of the once he divorces her, he'll give her the 200. The rest is his.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because he only has the right to the ksuba. But because of the ksuba, we put a freeze on all of the inheritance.
Oh. So then he might just want to marry, do a yavama with her for a little while, and then divorce her, and then she gets
and give her the ksuba,
and then he gets the rest.
Yes.
He keeps the rest.
Yes.
Okay.
Because the ibum is the one-time mitzvah.
Right.
And then afterwards, it's just a regular
So he
marriage.
might just want
So
to
if he
get the money from the brother.
Yes.
Okay.
So that's what it said, that if he inherited money, so buy karka and he could use parents out of that. Also, prayer solution is the same thing. Other kind of metaltalim also that he buys karka with it in order to generate parents. Fine. How about mahamuchubaran b'karka? What would you say about this? That he inherited land that also has things growing on it. That's not ready to cut off yet. So what would you say about that? We would say lachora. That's also the inheritance. That is a freeze on it. So what are you going to do with it? Also the same thing. Shomer no stone coming off in the Paris for coming off in below. It was mostly lock up and cock both the Paris. Same thing. Translate that into something that you could generate money from. The Paris is growing tvua. So you
Not
can't
grown yet, it's not fully
you
grown.
can't cut the tvua. You could cut the tvua. That's what they can do. They'll cut the tvua and sell it. But that is he's allowed to keep. The difference means the thing that he inherited. What did he inherit? He didn't inherit Paris solution. He inherited Paris Mukhul. That's not as much as once you're gonna. The difference between a full field, a growing field, and an empty field is not the karka plus Paris solution. As we said, that's the way the market works. If you would sell the field with the Paris, it wouldn't be the value of the field plus the Paris solution. It's less.
It's
less. So that's what's Meshuba to the Ksuba. So translate that into money
Money
that
that you
could
can
generate money. So buy karka with that. Make
He's
the
saying that-
hedgement, yeah.
Rebbe Meir saying that you have to buy
Land
land with
with
that.
that difference, right?
And where do you get the money? From the
You say,
Paris?
yeah, of course. Now you cut down the Paris, sell in the market,
You evaluate it and then you
Yeah.
cut the pay and then
Right.
you sell.
and you sell it for more.
get a
You sell the
profit
Paris for you get
for
profits
more anyway.
more. And then with the
And then
amount that
whatever
was the
the difference
difference,
was,
that goes back to buy karka and it'll generate Paris for you. And there's a freeze
and
on it.
that's
You can't
also
sell.
frozen.
Right. Okay, everything's beautiful. The Chachamim omrim, Paris HaMechubar Karka Shalom. That doesn't make sense at this point. Rashi points out that he's allowed to keep it. It's not part of it. It's part not. Yashin is from his brother, but he doesn't have to make a freeze on that to be Meshuba to the Ksuba. But that's it. That's not Meshuba to the Ksuba for some reason. We don't know the difference. It's part of the inheritance. The karka is inheritance. The money's inheritance. The Paris Hamaklushin is an inheritance, and all that is Meshuba to the Ksuba. But the wife, you're not allowed to. There's a freeze on it. But the Paris HaMechubar B'Karka, for some reason, it's not Meshuba to the Ksuba, so we just give it to him and say, do what you want. And these explanations, till Rashi says the Gemara is going to explain.
Of course, he waits till they ripe.
Yeah. But then when it gets ripe, so then he just cuts it off and keeps it, and that's not part of the Meshuba to the Ksuba. The land is frozen, but the Paris he just takes off, and that's his. Then his explanation. Atlushin B'Karka. So here Rashi says this also, we would think that it's like regular money. And Rashi says that he arguing a regular money also, even though it didn't sound like that, but the Mishnah before that said that all that is the ksuba, which is mishubed, and is frozen now, freeze on it, so therefore translate it into land and make profit out of it.
How much solution can there be from the karka? Are we talking about fruit that fell off the tree?
No, when
What
it
is-
fell off, they
what is
they
solution?
harvested it already. They made the harvest. When the husband died, he had
They had
already
already
done the
made a
harvest.
harvest.
And the harvest is right there, it's in the silo.
I
and
see.
you have
And
an empty
that's called
land and
solution from
That's-
the
Right,
land.
it's not there, so it's a regular, so it's like money, it's like.
Oh, and that's
affordables.
more than what the land was worth.
Right, but
Yeah.
but now that he
But-
inherited it, so it should be Shibba to the Ksuba, and he should have to, like the Tanakh of Meir said, translate that into real estate.
Okay.
But he says no. So Rashi says that there's no lien, it's not Shibba to the Ksuba for some reason, that Matantlem he holds is not Shibba to the Ksuba only if she grabbed it, only if she seized it while the husband was still alive. So I don't understand all these things, but the property, the real estate is Meshuba to the Ksuba. So when the husband dies, the brother Yarshins it, and all that's Meshuba to the Ksuba is a freeze on it. But the Paris pollution or any kind of portable
Mhm.
money, so all that is just going to go for the Yerusha. It's not Meshuba to the Ksuba unless she seized it before the husband died. Doesn't become hers, but that makes a Shibud on the Ksuba. Whatever she seized in his lifetime, that's Meshuba to the Ksuba, and then we'll have to translate that into real estate. So that's what it says.
Again, if she gets divorced, she only gets $200.
Yeah. 200 zuz, it's much more than $200, whatever that is. A year's support,
And what is Kodem? mean?
Whoever was Kodem, Misha Kala Kodem Zocho, whoever was first, it wins.
Oh.
How does it say?
It
Kala
means
Kodem
Kodem means
Zocho.
whoever sees it for, oh,
Whoever was first. Whoever was first, which means whoever sees it first.
well.
In the husband's lifetime.
The only way she's first is that her husband didn't die yet. Isn't that-
No, but she
how
sees
is
it
she
before
first?
there's a race between the wife and the brother. The husband is dying. So there's a wife.
Well, she's always going to be
standing-
first
Why is she first?
because he can't do Yibum until he
No,
dies.
no, he don't-
As soon as he
he-
dies, he
no.
has to do Yibum. She's already
There's
the
a bag,
wife.
there's a bag of money over there,
Yeah,
and the man is dying.
Yeah.
And in the same room, there's a bag of money. So
yeah,
the wife is there and the brother is there.
yeah.
So whoever grabs the money
It's this.
is the
So what does it
Zocha.
mean,
What does it mean?
grab?
Now, if he grabbed it, so then when the brother dies, it's in his rishus. so he yarshened it. But if the wife held on to it before the husband died, so it's not hers, but it's Meshubah to the Ksuba.
So how do you do this with words?
No, they pick it
It's out in the field.
If it, they're talking,
She's
so.
gonna run, oh, my husband died, I'm running out to the
No,
field. and
Rashi
picking
says
it
it
up.
has to be in his lifetime still. Has to be in his lifetime. How does she do it? So she calls her brother, her sons, whatever, the family come.
Make
He's
a
not-
kinyan
he's-
on the-
So my husband's dying. I need that to be a Meshubah to the Ksuba. So go to the silo and make a kinyan. How do you make a kinyan? Whatever, how do you make a kinyan? Ask the rabbi how to make a kinyan. Make a kinyan on all of the persecution.
while he's still alive.
Yeah,
That's what I thought, okay.
right. But it doesn't become hers. It becomes Meshubah to the Ksuba.
It's easy to think just the bag of money. And
Yeah,
whoever
money,
grabs
that
it
was yours
first,
first,
yeah.
in his lifetime.
His lifetime, why he's
For
still.
sure, it might be
Like
more
ready
than
to
her
go.
ketubah. In other words, she's getting 200 zuz, whatever it is.
But all of it is Meshubah to the Ksuba.
Meshubah.
And that means that they're going to put a freeze on it. They'll translate it into real estate. Then there'll be a freeze on it. And eventually, she needs the Ksuba. She'll have all this land that's available
This
for her.
is sort of
to-
like the safe deposit box. In America, people have safe deposit boxes. with all the
Whoever goes
gold
there
things,
first, that's
You
what
know, with
they
the
run-
gold and
they run
everything.
this.
Yeah, and what about it?
They tell the kids, go
Uh,
get the safe deposit box before they die or whatever.
Right, because the minute they die,
Then it's
Then
lost.
then
States
it's
is
locked,
gonna
and the state
lock
locks,
it.
and then they have to see everything that's in there. So they try to
Uh-huh.
go while he's dying,
Uh-huh.
they get everything out. So then
So here it says, Paris at Lushim and Akarka, Kol Kodem and Zacha, and he explains, Kadam who Zacha, if he got it, then it belongs to him. It's his Yerusha. When the brother dies, he gets it. Kadma, if she got it first in his lifetime, then Yilach ben Karka Vuachal Paris. Then it's Meshubah to the Ksuba, and they should translate that into real estate, then he gets the profits.
Okay.
Period. New Mishnah. Kansa, once the Yava marries her, so then she's considered a regular wife, but it still seems to say there's a difference between the Yavama and a regular wife. Now it says, that the regular wife, the Ksuba, the Shibud of the Ksuba is on all his property. By the Yavam, the Shibud on the Ksuba is only what he inherited from the brother. He has other business, he has other properties. That's his business, not nothing to do with the Ksuba. The Ksuba is only from the money that he inherited from the brother. There's also going to be a difference that he's not allowed to sell that inheritance. The regular husband is allowed to sell it, but there's a lien on it. He shouldn't designate the ksuba right here. This is the money for your ksuba. This is designated, for instance, on the table. He puts a bag of money. He says this is designated for the ksuba. All the property that he inherited from the brother is designated for the ksuba, and there's a freeze on it, then he can't sell it. That the Mishnah doesn't speak out over here, but we'll see he's not allowed to sell it either. A regular wife also, he shouldn't say designate a certain amount of money, 200 zuz, that's for the ksuba. But we said there's a difference that here he is allowed to sell it, but there's a lien on it. The last part of the Mishnah, Girsha ksuba. This is what he's pointing out, that if he does divorce, if the Yavam divorces the wife, the divorces the Yavam, he married her, then he divorced her, so then she only gets the 200 zuz, even though everything was frozen, but now she only gets the 200 zuz, and everything else goes to the brother, it belongs to him. There's zero. What if the Yavam takes her back again? He divorced her, and now he took her back. That's a regular wife. She doesn't get another ksuba. She gets the ksuba that she had in the first time. It's not like she has the din of a regular wife, and a regular wife also, if he divorced her and she didn't yet get the ksuba and he marries her again, she still stays with the same ksuba. She doesn't get an extra ksuba. Okay. Good. So a little bit about Tivamas. Back in Tivamas a little bit. So on the Gemara Payam Advais, a couple of lines from the bottom. This woman that's a Shemes Yavam, she died. So who's obligated to bury her? We had in the Mishnah that as far as the Yerusha means the other way, when who has this huyot of the property, means who takes from her, like who, if she died, so who has the privileges to get the Yerusha. We spoke about that maybe Achloku, maybe this, maybe the Ksuba goes there, and the next time we'll go there. But now we're talking about the obligations. The obligations of that who's supposed to bury her. The husband yarshins and buries. The husband is obligated to bury his wife. One of so he yarshins her, but he's supposed to bury her. And now
It's like the husband's supposed to bury his wife.
right. So but now we see that two kinds of Yerusha. Here we said in the Mishnah, according to Beisil, we're going to what Beisil. Beisil says there are two kinds of Yerushas. So the Ksuba is Becheskes Yoshei Habal, and the Nasman Yosemim was Becheskes Yoshei Ha'av. That Beisil says that who's going to yarsh, and it depends which part of the Ksuba. Rashi goes now with the Monam sign. The 200 that's supposed to go, that's a Ksuba that's only to be sold. So then that stays by the husband. He's a Muchzak, so it goes to his family. goes to his Yarshim. And Nechseit's Malug is the wife's Muchzik. So that goes to her family. So now the question is, which Yerusha is corresponding to the Kfura? Means who's obligated? We have two Yarshim now, two different Yerushas. That the husband's Yarshim and the wife's Yarshim. And now
And
she
where
has
does
to be
it come
buried.
from?
Who has the obligation to bury her? Shemesh Shabbat Shemesh Mikobra. Yoshi Abal Kobra Kavrila, the Koyasi Ksuba, or Dilma Yoshi Av Kavrila, the Koyasi Nechasim and Chasim Samima. It still says that depends two kinds of Yerushas. Some the husband gets the Yarshim of the husband, some the husband the Yarshim of the woman, which is called Yoshi Av. So who are the ones who are obligated to bury her? Amram, Tashma, the Tanya, Shemesh Shabbat Shemesa, Yosheha. Yoshek Subasa Chayom Mikfuras. Here speaks out. The top line it says doesn't say Yoshim. It says Yoshek Subasa. Yoshek Subasa means Rashi says means the Mana Mosam. The ones which means the husband's family are the ones that have to not the woman's family, but they're not the not the ones who got the Nifse Melub, the ones who got the Mana Mosam. Or maybe you might say also they talk about Taisvus talks about if it means the Nifse Son Barzal also, but at least Rashi says that Mana Mosam, that those who get the Mana Mosayim, they're the ones who are supposed to bury. So we answered the question. We had two Yerushas. So we
I
have
don't understand. Is that the Yifum? Is that the Yavam? Who is that?
right the Yoshim of the husband, which is the Yavam, right? So fine, he had a brisa. The brisa says open the Yosheh, but it says which ones? Yosheh Subasa, not the Yosheh next to Milug. The Yosheh Subasa, which is the Mana Mosayim. Amra Abai Afanana Mitinila. Abai says he has a Mishnah. Also says the same thing. Well, at least it's a remez. It says in Mishnah, Almana, it says here on the side, La'el, come on, Almana is honest with Nechse Yisomen, Umase Yedeh Shalahen, Vein Chayovim Bikfuras. Widow, she gets supported from the property that the Yisomim Yarshin, that we know, that a widow is supported from the estate. She doesn't get a Yerusha, but she's supported as long as she stays a widow. And her earnings go to them, and they don't have to bury her. But who does bury her? It says that the Yisomim are his Yarshim. A regular case of not a Yavama, a regular Amana dies, so she doesn't get the Yerusha, but she gets supported from the Yerusha. And whose Yerusha is that? The Yarshim of the husband. And they don't have to bury her. Who has to bury her? Her Yarshim. Her Yarshim are the ones who bury her.
Who's who your share?
She could, if she might have different Yarshim than the husband, right? That might be, right?
Could be.
So the ones who support her are the ones who Yarshin the husband's estate.
Right.
He's mechuyev to give her mazonos after he dies from his property. But the Kura is her Yarshim.
Right. And if she doesn't have any Yoshim, then they would have to, and the other ones would have to do it.
Maybe then you go to the tzedakah fund, you know?
Really?
But then I'm mechuyev to. I don't think so. But here it said an extra word. It said Yoshek Subasa. So it's not talking about a Yavam over here. The simple not talking about regular Amana. But the Gemara is going to be medayik from the extra. We didn't have to say those extra words. Yoshek Subasa. Should have said Yoshek. What is Yoshek Subasa for? Since it speaks out Yoshek Subasa is coming to hint that if there's a case where there are two Yoshim, there's like we said before that the Yerusha is split up between two. His Yarshim and hers Yarshim. So it's coming to hint the same halacha that when there are a split in the Yerushas, the ones who get the Ksuba, they're the one, not the ones who get the Nifse Melud, but the ones who get the Mana Mosayim, those are the ones who have to bury. So it's also a hint, at least. It's not beferish like the Bryce. The Bryce is talking about a Yavama. The bottom line says, Shemesh Yom Shemesa says Yoshik Subasa. He is talking about a regular Mana. So it wouldn't be beferish, but it's a premise. The fact that it has the extra lush in Yoshik Subasa, they're the ones who are obligated to bury. They're the ones who have to bury. Finished. Not finished. That's finished as far as halacha goes. Not anymore as a kasha. The rest of the page, almost to the bottom, is going to be a question. That the yavam. We said who has to bury her? The yavam.
Right.
The yarshim of the husband. He has to bury her because the Mana Mosayim. He's getting the Mana Mosayim. But he comes and says, why should I have to bury? Amar Rav Lema. Let the yavam say, Achani Yoresh Ishto Einani Kobra. I get the Yerusha from my brother, and I don't want to bury his wife. That means I'm not yarshing from her. I yarshing from my brother.
Right.
So why should I have to bury? There's a complicated shot here. I think it's not so simple, but I think Taisva says at least the words are simple. That I yarshin zchuyot, I don't yarshin obligations. Because if I would simply be something to do with the woman I yarshin her, so then it's right that I should bury her. But I'm yarshining it from my brother. The husband, the dead brother, he had money that he was obligated to give to him to the wife, the ksuba. But when I get the Yerush, I'm yarshining him. I'm dashing the wife.
No, but when you get a Yerusha, you get both. You get the good and the bad.
Yeah,
That
but
means
here, who's
if
he
that
getting-
guy owes
Yes.
money, right?
He doesn't,
If-
he
no,
doesn't
I'm saying
yash
if-
Kesuvos. He doesn't yash obligations.
Regularly, everybody does. In a regular Yerusha,
Yeah.
let's say the person dies, so before you get the $100,000, you gotta pay off the $50,000 of debt that he owns.
If there was a lien on it. Not everything has a lien on, not everything has a lien.
That's just the way it is.
Let's say,
in the world.
metaltalem.
Yeah.
Metaltalem don't have no shibud on it, only real estate. So if they got a Yerusha, so they get the Yerusha, and then they owed money, and they don't have a supposed to get that.
You yash in a house,
A house is saying real estate.
Oh,
But let's
real
say- let's
estate,
say they
right.
are- let's say- because there's a lien on that.
right?
Also only if that,
Yeah, so we have to pay
there's a
off,
lien
we
on
have
it.
to pay
But
off.
if there's a pile of money,
Right.
there's a bank of money, so
Ah.
then they yash it, then they don't pay off the chayvus. So he's coming, the words he says over here is that
You know,
I'm
I've
not
only
yashing,
get- yeah,
I'm not
only
yashing
getting
the
good.
woman. If I yashing, it's a little different than, I'm not yashing the woman.
Right.
If he's yashing the woman, so then I would bury her.
Right.
But I'm yashing the brother. So why should I have to bury the woman? The brother was mechuyev, my brother was mechuyev the brother if she would have died first, but he died first.
But a certain way, by the whole Yevamah thing, you are yashing the whole
But that's
way.
what the Gemara seems to talk
Right.
about now. That's what the Gemara seems to continue. So that was Rabbi's question. That why can't he get out of it and say that I didn't yashin from her, I yashin from my brother. So why should I have to bury her? Let the tzedakah bury her, whatever. Because we come from both angles. That seems to be a bunch of saying that if it's considered a continuation of the brother, then he should also have to bury his wife. In a cobra sishto, he thinks subasa. What is he going to say? I'm not a continuation of my brother. If you're not a continuation of the brother, so then the brother died. So then pay the wife ksuba. Pay up the ksuba.
Right.
Means the only reason why you don't give the ksuba is because you're a continuation. But if you say that you're not a continuation, so then you should have to pay the ksuba.
If he's not going to bury her, he should pay the ketubah. What does that mean?
Yes, he should give out the 200 zuz to the yarshim of the wife, because why are you taking it? The brother died and he owes ksuba, so the ksuba should go to the yarshim of the wife.
Right, you can't.
You're only saying that you're not paying ksuba because you're a continuation.
Right.
You're here to ready to do ibum. You
Right,
would have done ibum.
Can't have
So-
it both ways.
Amalei, so I rather explain this question. Machi come in. This is what I meant to say. Achani yoresh es ishto einani kover. I'm inheriting my brother, and I have no reason why I should have to bury his wife. V'mishum ksuba. Your question is, how come I don't have to give ksuba?
Right.
Lo nitna ksuba l'gbos mechayim. That so Rashi, I wouldn't have known what the Gemara says. Rashi says that in the ksuba, we see from the Hemshech of the Gemara that you take the words of ksuba literally, and over there it says that when you marry somebody else, you may take the ksuba. Means he writes the obligation of ksuba to the wife. When is she eligible to get the ksuba? When she's marries somebody else. When she marries out. When she's able to. When she's mutter to marry out. She's not mutter to marry out. Since there's a yavam, she's not mutter to marry out. She's obligated to the yavam. So I'm not a continuation of my brother, but Lamashi, she's not allowed to marry out. So therefore, there's no chiv ksuba to her. You want me to give ksuba? I'm not marrying her because I didn't yashin her. So and I'm not a continuation of my brother. What are you asking? That if I'm not a continuation of my brother, I should give her ksuba. It says in the ksuba, yeah.
Yeah, but it says in the
It says ksuba, I'm only obligated. She's only eligible to the ksuba when she may marry, but she may not marry.
She can't marry. Because she's not.
So the more answers the question.
If she has a child, then she can.
Right. The case is Yibama. That's the case here. That she's no child. There's no
Right,
child.
this, yeah.
At this point, there's no child, therefore she's not
What do you mean this point?
accomplished.
The husband died without children.
Right, that's all.
Right, I'm saying, but when she remarries, when she's married to the, she's with the Yibam now.
She didn't. She died.
even
As,
get to
she
it.
died as a Shemez Yama. That's the case is that she died as a Shemez Yama. Who's going to bury her? That was look at the one in the beginning. Shemez Iboilu, Shemez Yama, Shemesa Mikover. That's the case. She died as a Shemez Yama, and who's obligated to marry to bury her? So we said that it's on the brother. The Yava has to bury her. So he says, I didn't yashin her. Why should I bury her? And I don't have to give her ksuba to the Yoshim of her Yoshim because she's not mutter to marry yet. So the Gemara answers, Man Shamalei, this Midrash ksuba. Who's the one who holds that you take the ksuba literally the way you're taking it so literally? That's Beishamai. Beishamai happens to hold something else that's going to answer the question. Beishamai, little Beishamai, the Amri, Shtar Omid Ligbos, Kikovi Dami.
The Islay Midrash Ketubah.
Yeah, that they hold of darshaning the ksuba. Darshaning ksuba is the way the Gemara says that you take the words of the ksuba literally, like it says, we're doing it very literal. That it says, when is she eligible for the ksuba? When she may get married. That's taking the words of the ksuba is like a mishnah. Like you take it very, you darshan the ksuba, the words of the ksuba, you darshan the ksuba. We had this once before another time by,
Okay,
I forgot the other place where we had it.
yeah.
So the Gemara answers that the one who holds, the kasha is only based on Beishamai. Beishamai happened to hold, Shamina Lula Beishamai, the Ami, Shtar Amid Ligvos, Kigovi Dami. What is that supposed to say? I forgot to point to the Gemara. 1 second. Shtar Amid Ligvos, Kigovi Dami. Rashi says two words. Rashi says that the ksuba is owed to the woman. That's called, she has a shtar omed lig, but she has a contract which is omed to be collected. So you could collect with it. She didn't, it's as if it's collected. If you have a contract, you have a check which is omed to be collected, cashed in, it's considered cashed in. So here, the woman, the question is, the point is that what was this whole time? I'm not rationing from her. I'm rationing from my brother. Even the money of the ksuba that I'm taking, I'm not getting it from her. I'm getting it from him. So why should I bury her? The answer is no. That if you according to Beishamai, the ksuba that the woman has is as if it's already cashed in. So you are yashining from her. The Imam was saying that the Yavam is getting, even though he thinks he's getting it from the brother, you're really taking it from the woman because it's considered as if she already cashed in. So the whole time was based on I'm not yashining her, I'm yashining the brother. Why should I? If I would yashin her, then I would bury her. But I'm not yashining her. I'm yashining the brother. We tell him no, you're yashining her because the shtar that she has with the ability to collect the ksuba, that makes that it's hers. It's like it's in her pocket already. Shtar omed ligvos kigovi dami. A shtar which is omed to collect is already collected. So it's as if the money's in her pocket, even though it's in his bank account, but it's in her pocket because so therefore when you're yashining from her. So therefore you have to bury her. The Gemara goes down about 10 lines. A side issue. That's a nice point that I cruise a little bit, a little side cruise to go to this halacha about Shtar Amid Libos Kigovi Dam.
The Tanakh sounds like it's going to be approved.
Right, it's going to but it's a proof. Right, so it's a proof to show B'Shamai holds Shtar Amid Libos Kigovi Dam. And it's a side issue. What is that? And a nice, interesting issue. Mesu. We know the din of a sota. We're going into sota a little bit. What's the din? That a woman who was warned not to seclude with a certain man, and she did, so then she's asked to her husband until she drinks the Ma'ayim, and then she'll prove her innocence. But what happened if the husband died before she had a chance to drink?
Why is it about like him?
So Rashi says all the cases are women who are sotos.
Women.
The sotos who the husband died.
Wow.
So what are they? What's the question now?
Does she have to drink the water?
Why should she drink? She's asked the drinking.
Right.
No, why should she have to drink? The drinking is only to make her mutter to her husband.
Right.
Her husband died anyway.
Anyway.
But the issue is that she gets ksuba. She says, I'm innocent, it wasn't mazana, so she wants ksuba.
Right.
And we say, if you were mazana, then you don't get ksuba.
Right.
So she'd want to drink in order to get ksuba, but she can't drink after the husband died.
Right.
So does she get ksuba? She says, I'm innocent. We say that you're a sota. So B'Shama Yomim notos ksuba v'lo shosas, that she gets ksuba.
Oh, good.
If it was a full, if she was a virgin, she gets 200. If she's a, she could be only 100, could be 200. Whatever it was at the time.
She gets
They were saying that all bets are off in terms of the laws of sota.
Which means that sota, it's not relevant anymore.
It's not relevant.
Even though if she was mazana, it's a suffix. If she was mazana, she doesn't get ksuba.
Right.
If she was not mazana, she doesn't get ksuba. We don't know if she was mazana.
Says.
And there's no way to verify it now because she can't drink the Ma'im Amorim.
Right.
The Muslim stay in a second, only could drink in her husband's lifetime.
Right. So we put her in chesus kashrus.
No.
Oh, so the Muslim is going to say because she's because of the muhsik. She gets. The secret is going to be that she's considered a muhsik. This is what the Gemara wants to prove. She's considered a muhsik because it's kigobi dami.
Right.
Since she had a star on the ksuba, who's the muhsik in the money?
So she's.
That's going to be the question over here.
Right.
So the Shammai says she's the muhsik. So you're right, it's a suffix. So keep the money where it is. Where's the money? In her pocket. It's not in her pocket. But it's kigovi dami. That's what the Gemara is going to say. They still say oh shosos or lo notos ksuba. Literally, the words mean either she drinks or she doesn't get ksuba.
She can't drink.
Oh, that's the word's kasha. Oh shosos. Omar jumps up like Moshe did. Oh shosos. They wanted to drink. Is it to say that she could drink? Behavior isha sishto elakoin amrachon. The pasuk says that the husband brings the woman. Means the only possibility to drink is only if the husband brings her. The husband's dead now. The lekka, there's no husband to bring her, so she can't drink. That's what he meant to say. That she only can get ksuba if she drinks, and she can't drink, so she doesn't get ksuba. That's what we still meant to say. What do you have? Does she get ksuba? This is okay. That her husband died. Does she get ksuba? Bishamai says yes, but still says not. Why? What they're arguing about? Bishamai omer notos ksuba below shows us why. Rama is fake.
That was the end of
That's the end of the
whatever it is.
the Mishnah, whatever, with the explanation also that the Gemara explained that it still doesn't mean that she has a possibility to drink. It means that she can't drink, so she can't get ksuba.
Yeah.
But now the question is, Beishamai, how come Beishamai says that she gets it? It's a suffix. Beishamai, and they say ksuba below shomai speku. Suffix and suffix lozana. We don't know if she was mazan. If she was mazan, she doesn't get the ksuba because he's suffix motzi midevada. You're going to take away the ksuba from the nechasim of the husband on a suffix. Because Nabi Beishamai shall would live what's going to be done. That's the proof that Beishamai holds that it's considered collected already.
What does the Beit Hillel say?
They say it's not considered collected. So he's the muhsik. The husband's family is the muhsik. So they don't have to give ksuba. So this is the machlokas. He holds shayla was gavidami. So what did the Gemara do? The Gemara utilized Beishamai. Since the Kashi was Beishamai, that he's the one who says medrash ksuba. So she that was the kasha that he says I don't have to give ksuba because she's not able to marry because she only has to marry me. She wasn't able to marry out, so that's why I don't want to give ksuba. The Gemara answers, Beishamai also happens to hold that she's the muksik. So when you do yashin her, so you're yashining from her, and therefore you should bury her. But the Gemara says the kasha of avina kishetinasi alacha titli mashikasav lachivileka. So here's a good difficulty. What the Gemara's kasha is we're asking the same kasha over again. This is what the medrash ksuba, that when you're able to marry, that then you get what's written to you. So we spoke about that. Was the whole Gemara before. What did the Gemara ask? What's the Gemara asking again? The same question. So not clear what the Gemara is asking over here.
What are you reading?
The list one on the line is Vaha. The first word is Be'ina. You need what it says in the Ksuba, Medish Ksuba. When you mutter to marry somebody else, you take what's coming to you. So that's really asking the same kasha over again. Before we asked the kasha, and we said, but this so a possible pshat, I don't have a good pshat. They talk about it, a few pshatim, but one simple pshat might be, even though it's not so easy in the words, that the more it means to ask, Beis Hillel also Lamaisa holds Idash and Medrash Ksuba. Even though Beishamai is the one who said it over there in the other Mishnah, but Beis Hillel over there agreed. So everybody holds. Means it doesn't help. The kasha doesn't. The answer doesn't help. It isn't only Beis Hillel, Beishamai who holds Medrash Ksuba. Beis Hillel also holds Medrash Ksuba.
Mean in this case?
Medrash Ksuba means that you dash in the words of the Ksuba literally, and if it says you get Ksuba when you're mutter to marry, so she's not mutter to marry over here because there's a yavam. She's Meshubet, she's kukatli yavam, so she can't marry out. So why should she get Ksuba? The more answers, Amar Ravashi yavam nami ka'achid dami. Till now, the Gemara thought that the Yavam is not considered somebody else. So she can't marry out because she's Meshubah to the Yavam. The Gemara says the Yavam is also a somebody else. When it says in the Ksuba, when you marry somebody else, you may get the Ksuba. So that's including the Yavam also. So there is there is a supposed to get the Ksuba. So we ask him, why not giving the Ksuba? Because you're a continuation of the brother. If you're a continuation of the brother, you also have to bury his wife. So that was a kasha and a teretz and a kasha and a teretz, but the subject stays the same as it was on the top. The first question was, who has to bury this woman? The brother of the right. Shalach lei Rava l'Abaye biyad Rav Shmaya bar Zera. Okay, Rav asked the kasha to Abaye. He sent a message. He sent the following kasha to Abaye through Rav Shmaya bar Zera. He was the shliach. Is that true? That how's this kasha go? That Yavam, as if to say that Yavam is chayv to give the ksuba. If we say it's continuation, it's not really a two dots. It's like it's not a stop of the Gemara. It's a continuation.
Not ketuba.
That the ksuba likus behind is the ksuba able to be collected in the lifetime, which means in the lifetime of the Yavam. Is the Yavam obligated to give the ksuba? The question the Gemara said before that we answer the question, how come the Yavam has to bury? Because we say if you don't want to bury, so then give ksuba. So we said, yeah, give ksuba. Is mutter to marry. So last Gemara, 2 lines ago, just said that marrying the Yavam, the ability to marry the Yavam is also called tinasi la'acher, and therefore she's eligible to get ksuba. In essence, the Yavam should give ksuba to the wife. If he marries her, fine, he marries her. But if he's not married, as long as he's not marrying her, so he's really obligated to give ksuba. So that the Gemara is going to challenge that. Is it true that the Yavam has to give ksuba?
He hasn't married her yet.
He didn't marry her, and she said, "My husband died. Give me ksuba."
Right.
So he says,
"I'm still initially owed my ketubah."
Right, and so pay up.
And you're my so.
So if she marries right away, so then
of course.
The Gemara is going to ask the Ivan on that. It seems to say at this point the Gemara is saying that she's eligible to ksuba even though she marries it even. That's what it seems to say. She's eligible to ksuba once her husband dies, and she could marry.
Even if he marries?
Even, it seems. That's what we'll see the Gemara right now. Let's see 2 lines. This is my second time learning the Gemara, so I might take. I just learned it once before. But Tanya, we learned in the Brayser. Baba Omer Sha'alti Yasumcha said, "What's Hashem ko b'nitzei achid?" Really, but this came up yesterday. Last night, people made this point. What if somebody wants? There's a freeze on the property. The Yavam Yashin, his brother, right? The brother died. The Yavam Yashin, his brother, and there's a freeze. There's a freeze on all that for the kid. But he wants to sell it. Is there a way? Do you have any eitzah for him? He comes to the Yoatzim, whatever. It comes to the people who are Chachamim. What is that?
The advisors.
The advisors. And the people then. Is there any way that I can sell to get out of this freeze? Do you have any loophole that I can get out of this freeze? I'm not allowed to sell a yashin a lot of money. I want to use it. I want to spend it. Is there any way I can get out of the freeze? So, Sha'alti Yasimcha. So, what says is there any way that a person, a yavam, could get out of the freeze? So he says the Eitzah. In Kohenu, Yasa Suda the B'yafais. If he's a Kohen, not such a big Eitzah, not a forceful Eitzah, but he should convince his wife, go out for dinner. Yasa Suda, go for dinner, take out to a nice restaurant, and convince her that she should let you sell.
Get her permission.
Get her permission to sell, even though she has rights that there's a freeze on it. But if she agrees, she's mutter to do that. So get her. How do you convince her? Take her out. Yasa Suda. Make a nice meal. But if there's Yisrael, he has a.
If she gives permission, then it's
yeah. It's not an Isser, it's her rights.
But why if it's a Kohen?
Because if he's a Kohen, it means he has no other Eitzah. The Yisrael has a strong Eitzah. The Yisrael does not do such a nice guy. The Kohen has no Eitzah. He has to get her permission. So, but Yisrael has a way of doing it without going for a restaurant.
Okay.
He can go to a restaurant also, but he has a way to do it forcefully. In Yisrael, which was mentioned over here, that he can give her a get. He says, "My dear, I really don't want to divorce you, but I'm going to divorce you because I want to sell the property. There's a freeze on it. There's $1 million over here. I only owe you 200 zuz for a ksuba when you want to get it. But I want to sell." And she says no. So he says, "Listen, we either go to the restaurant, or not a restaurant. You can do it. I have a way of doing it." So he has a wife to give her a get. And he says, "I'll take you back. I have no problem. I like you. I want to marry you, but I'll take you back." But there's no freeze anymore.
Is that the end of the?
That's the end of that sumchus.
Of the price.
That's the tshuva of Simchas.
That's right. That Kohen has no eight. He has to
Okay.
get
You know, it's
permission.
the last 2 lines of the tshuva.
Right. And Yisrael has an eight.
He
So
can
he
threaten
can
to get.
or he can give a get. He can give a get and
Or he
take
can
it
give
back.
it, yeah.
And then there's a regular ksuba, like a regular husband, that there's a shibud on it, but he can sell it.
I mean, the Kohen, if the Kohen wants to divorce her full time,
He also could divorce, but
he can divorce, he can't marry.
Right,
In other words, if he likes her,
yeah, the case is that he
then
wants to
he
stay
would
married.
be hard for him to do.
Yeah, he wants to stay married,
He wants
but Israel has the choice of divorcing
Right.
and marrying her again. She also has to agree. Means they want to stay together, but he says, "I want to stay. I want to sell." So he could force it.
Divorce her, sell, and then.
He could give her a gift, and then he says, "Want to marry? I'll marry you. I'm happy to marry you again." But now it's a regular ksuba, but I can sell all the property. That's it. Now the more wants to say is the ksuba mechaim. What we do? So we said that the ksuba is obligated to the woman when the husband dies, even there's a yavam. That's what the husband is saying. And we're saying that the yavam was also an acher. The yavam is considered somebody, and once the husband dies, even though there's a yavam, she's not entitled to ksuba.
Once again,
Once the husband dies,
yes.
the woman is entitled to ksuba.
Mhm.
So the Gemara is asking on that. If that's true, if it's true that she's eligible to ksuba, even when the yavam is alive, let him tell her, "My dear, I'm giving you ksuba now." Why does he have to divorce her in order to give her ksuba? The ksuba is already payable now. If you say that, even though I'm around, and even if you married her, it could be. Even after you married her, the fact that I'm the yavam, once your husband died, my brother, your husband died, so the ksuba is payable.
But wait a minute, he is becoming now the new chatan. It's like he is now like a brother, like the
Okay.
brothers.
But
You
no,
know what it is? He's an
nobody-
extension of the brother.
No,
Therefore, the
but
ketubah
no.
sits with him now.
No, but now the Gemara just finished saying before the 2 dots, 5 lines up, the Gemara said that the ksuba is really payable after the brother died, even though there's a yavam. Even though there's a yavam.
And he's still going to marry her, and he wishes to marry.
But he says that but I owe you ksuba because of my brother's death. So
It means
If you say-
to isolate it,
Which one?
Miyachet, the first.
The yachid, to designate. You can say designate away. It's here. It seems to me you can give it
But
there.
I thought we said that a person is not allowed, we have a price.
Right, but that's only when he's not chayiv the ksuba yet. The regular husband, the married, he's not chayiv ksuba. So we want to hold on to the ksuba till the time that he's going to pay it. But the Yavam tells his wife that I owe you the ksuba already because you owe the ksuba from the death of my brother, even though I'm alive, and even though I married you. So here's the ksuba. And the means why is this
Oh,
allowed?
because he himself has no ketubah. He himself has no ketubah.
But usually we understood till now, but he's not chayiv ksuba until he divorces her. Or he dies.
I
But
mean,
now
all
we're
the time
saying
is
now-
a yabam, and
Right.
it's the yiva
But now-
marriage. There's no
But
ketubah.
now the Gemara said no. The 5 lines ago, the Gemara said no. That once she marries, or she's mutter to marry the yavam, once the husband dies, in other words,
Okay,
so then she is owed the ksuba
from the brother, from the dead
from the
brother.
yavam, and the yavam has to pay it, even though he's alive, because it's called tinasi lachem. Here's the ksuba,
Here's the
Okay.
ksuba.
Well,
and the
Also-
freeze is off.
Oh, the whole freezes up.
The freezes
Oh,
up.
because the whole thing was because to
Hold on, so I'll give you ksuba.
hold
right
him
now.
chiyuv to the freeze.
So here's the ksuba
To
right
the-
now.
Ksuba.
What sounds good, no?
So it sounds like a good question. The
Okay,
Gemara's going to
okay.
take 10. The Gemara's going to ask 10 lines. The Gemara's going to have an answer in 10 lines. But before that, the Gemara's going to say. Before that, the Gemara is going to say that why do you have to go to the brisa, this fancy brisa, to say that he could divorce her and take her back again? Our Mishnah says there's a freeze on the ksuba. There's a freeze on the nechasim. Ask on the Mishnah, why is there a freeze on the nechasim? He says here's the 200 zuz, and there's no freeze. So that's what the Gemara is going to ask. How come you had to go so far to go to the brisa of sumchas to ask the kasha? The kasha could have asked from the Mishnah. The Mishnah says that there's a freeze. Ultamech, 3rd line. If you think this is a kasha and you don't know the answer coming up, Los what we must listen. You should have asked straight from the Mishnah instead of the brisa. It says
Means what?
ask, like Meisvei. Losva means you should have asked from the Mishnah. It says in the Mishnah, quote, Lo yom Allah harei ksuba saich menachas lech ala shulchan. He shouldn't tell the wife that here's the ksuba right here on the table. Ela kol nechas b'chon l'ksubasa. Everything, all the property is frozen.
Yeah, that was my question.
Right. And it's a good question. So the Gemara says you might say the Mishnah is just telling Eitzah Tova. Maybe it's just a good Eitzah that he should leave everything, not to sell, not that he's mechuyev, not there's a freeze. It's just a smart thing. A smart thing, a person tell you Eitzah. Don't just be miyachad a certain thing for the ksuba. Could be when it comes time to pay the ksuba, you're not going to have money. So keep everything around. But not that he's not allowed to. Here it says he's not allowed to because you see he wants to
Language
sell.
doesn't sound like.
Okay. Lo yomar. He should not say. Okay.
Low yom.
So you say that it doesn't sound like that. But the Gemara says, first the Gemara says, how about the next part of the Mishnah? Husband. The Gemara says the next case in the Mishnah about the husband, the regular husband, you think it's a freeze? Oh, but there's no freeze. When it says the husband shouldn't do that either, does that mean that he can't do it if he wants to? He could. He could if he wants to, because there's no freeze on a husband's property to pay the ksuba.
Okay, went too fast.
The Gemara is saying the Mishnah, maybe you could say is only 8 Satova. Maybe it's not.
Maybe it's only an Eitzah
Right.
Yeah.
I'll prove to you it's an 8 Satova. Because the next words in the Mishnah, bottom of Pei Yom Beis, which we learned, it says husband, not only a Yavam, even a husband also should not designate something for the ksuba. Everything is meshubah to the ksuba. So when I said the Mishnah, I said there's a difference between the Yavam and the husband. The Yavam, there's a freeze on it, and the husband, there's a shibud on it. So he can't say this is meshubah, nothing else is meshubah. He can't say that. Everything is meshubah. If he wants to, he can sell if he wants to. But everything is meshubah. He can't say that. But the Gemara doesn't seem to explain that Mishnah that way. And the Gemara is saying that the Mishnah means that he may not, and it doesn't mean he may not. It means that it's not smart to sell. The Gemara is learning the Mishnah means by the husband that it's not a smart idea to sell, but not that he's not allowed to. If he wants to sell, he could sell. So therefore, the Gemara is not impressed with the Mishnah that says that the Yavam should not sell. Maybe it doesn't mean that he may not sell. Maybe it just means it's not smart to sell. So that's what, but we did prove it means in the Mishnah we wouldn't have been able to tell. But he learned the Brisa that what the Brisa says before that he's not allowed to sell, because it says if he wants to sell, he has to go through either go to the restaurant or to convince his wife, or he has to divorce her and take her back. That means beferish that he may not. Because in the Mishnah, you could have been matchik and say it means it's not good advice. But in the Brisa, the truth is, now you go back to the Mishnah, the truth is, but he may not sell it. But we wouldn't have known it from the Mishnah. We could have wiggled through the Mishnah without knowing that. But the Maisa, it's true. The Brisa says if you want to sell and she doesn't want, you have to divorce and take her back. So the Maisa, it's true. So the cash comes back to the top line. if you say that the ksuba is payable
Yeah.
as soon as the brother dies, so let him not divorce it. Just say, here's the ksuba and let's continue.
Okay.
And I'm selling everything else. Ella Rabba Bakasha, yeah. The answer is Rabba Minami Bakasha, Mishum Eva. That's the end of the Gemara. Mishum Eva. Eva means animosity. So
From her
Rashi,
to him.
so which, right, we don't want animosity. We don't want animosity. So which one, so the reason why there's a freeze and he can't sell anything. Again, let me get this. Mishum Eva. We don't want him to designate a piece of land and the rest to sell, because when there's a designated piece of land, that causes animosity. It means they go on being married, and there's a piece of land that this is the land if I divorce you, so that's going to be your ksuba. That's not a nice.
Not a nice thing.
It's not a nice. It's not a nice scenario.
That
That causes a constant animosity. Over here, I think it's interesting that here he divorces her. He divorces her and takes her back. That's not such animosity. Why? Because he has no. Everything's fine. Just I want to sell. You don't want to let me sell. I'm going to divorce you and take you back in order to be able to take off the freeze. That's like a one-time thing, and then she gets over it. She understands it wasn't there's anything against her. He just wants to sell this $1 million property that he has.
And there's no animosity that all his assets are frozen. He doesn't have animosity.
That's not right. That's not the issue.
But
That's
she'll have animosity if she sees.
if she's designated a piece of land.
Yeah, this is for when I divorce you.
Yeah, it could be that
like
the fact that
hanging
Chazal made that he's not allowed to.
There's enough.
So it could be the fact. I'm just trying to get your question. That why is it a masi on his part?
Yeah.
So Chazal made the issue that he's not allowed to sell any of the freeze. They made the
No,
freeze.
you can't marry her.
When?
You can't remarry her.
Why
Because
can't
she's
he?
a yibum. She's a yibum.
So
The yibum can only be married to a brother's wife in the state of yibum, but any others is
Once he divorces her,
error.
once he divorces her, he can
What?
marry her. That's the
No,
Mishnah.
why?
The Mishnah we said today.
I thought because
Zero, she was not thinking about.
why is it not error?
Yes,
Was his wife?
it's a nice question, and the Mishnah
Was
considered
his
it.
brother's
The
wife?
Mishnah
How can he
considered
marry?
a chiddush, so it speaks it out, but it says he's allowed to marry her back. He's allowed to marry again. It's a nice point. The chiddush is so much a chiddush that the Mishnah had to speak it out, but it's true that he can marry her again. So the answer is, the question was that he owes a ksuba in his lifetime even.
he has a consumer.
So why not give it?
Yeah.
Designate it now. And
What happened to the answer? Yeah,
designate
so
it
give
now.
us an answer.
That's going to be animosity. If he
Animosity.
gives her, if he puts aside something for the ksuba,
Mhm.
that's considered animosity.
Why put it aside? Give her money. Give her
Give her the ksuba,
value.
and not only
Give
designate.
her
Why
in
doesn't he
cash,
give
put
her?
it in the bank. She'll
Why
be so
doesn't he just
happy.
give- why does he just
Put
give it
in
to
No,
her?
the-
she's not happy with that.
Why not? That's the ksuba from the ksuba
It's good
from
money.
the first. From
No,
the
it's
first
like
husband.
divorce is hanging over her head.
That's a
No
regular marriage.
divorce.
But Hamdav is asking that this is the ksuba that he owes from the first
From
husband, from the brother.
the dead
So why not
husband.
just give it to her? The Gemara said the yachid. What the yachid? Why the yachid? Why not just give it to her? He wants to sell the rest of the property. He wants to get off the freeze. So here's the ksuba from your first husband, my brother, and we'll continue being married.
He
Everything's
doesn't have to
fine.
explain the whole story that he's only doing it so he can sell the property. He doesn't have to tell her that the property is in Meshubah.
No, that's the point. That doesn't make
He
any
shouldn't
sense.
have
He
to
wants to
know the
sell.
whole story.
Okay, I'll try to find out.
Says, I have to pay you my ketsuva from your dead
Okay.
husband.
So where are we holding? 1201.
Mishum Eva.
Mishum Eva. That's the answer.
Where is it?
Mishum
How far
Rabbi
down?
Nami Lukasha, Mishum Eva. Because I don't want him to pay to designate the ksuba. Maybe Hamdav was asking why designate. Why not just give it to her?
Yeah, give
I'll
him
try. I'll
money.
try to come back. with the
Yeah, why
answer.
does it? Why leave it as a?
Why not give it to her and then there's no
Then
animosity?
maybe.
I don't know. I'll try to get back to that. That's the end of that Gemara. Give her Hamdav's question. Give her the ksuba. There's $1 million Yerusha from his brother, and he owes me
Give her
200
yours for
200
money.
zuz.
It's a lot of
So give her
money.
200 zuz. Here's your ksuba. I owe you ksuba. Here's your ksuba. 200 zuz, and the rest of it is no freeze. I gave you ksuba already. If you say that the ksuba is payable even in his lifetime, so give her. The Gemara doesn't say give her. The Gemara said niyachid. Let her designate, and that the Gemara said designating is not healthy for the marriage. But if he gives it to her, the there shouldn't be any problem. That's kind of his question. I don't have an answer. The Gemara says interesting story. I think that it's overtime, but if you could, just a little bit more.
Sure.
Who gavra? If it's good, everybody. Who gavra? There was a man that there was a in Pumbedisa. It happened. It seems that he got a Yibam means that his brother died, and he's the oldest. The more talks about now the oldest, and then there were two brothers, and the older one is the one who has the schus to marry her. So he wanted to do Yibam. The younger brother wanted to stop the Yibam of the older brother by giving her a get. The halacha we had a Yibam is that if any brother gives a get to the Yibama by throwing her a get, even though no one agreed, he gives a get to the. So then she's not allowed to do Yibam, not to him, not to anybody. So he wanted to mess up the Yibam.
This is the brother who was Meroi to marry the girl.
There was one brother. There were three brothers. One brother died, and
What's
the
the
two other
Achma?
brothers. What?
The second word, boy, Achma.
Achu is the brother,
Achu is a brother,
right? Like
her brother,
His brother.
Achuha, a brother,
a brother.
wanted to puzzle her with a get from him. Means that the younger brother, let's say, wanted to puzzle the woman from being able to do Yibam with the older brother. The older brother wanted to do Yibam, or one of the brothers wanted to
He's
do
gonna
Yibam,
jump the gun and give a get.
right? And therefore nobody's going to marry you.
Yeah.
Everyone has to do chalitza. Yeah, someone has to do chalitza. Why? What was the motivation of this?
He was probably
young
loved. He
brother?
probably wanted to marry her.
He's not going to marry her either.
No,
I know, but he
could've
doesn't want
jumped.
anybody else to meet. He
Like
doesn't
Thomas
want-
Napshi.
he's not so, it's a little bit of a bad.
So that wasn't
a
the
bad
case.
meter.
The case was that he wanted half of the Yerusha. He wanted the Yerusha. It means that when the Yavam, if someone does Yibam, he gets the whole Yerusha. If they do Chalitza, then everyone gets the Yerusha equally. So one brother wanted to do Yibam and also get the Yerusha. And the other one wanted to get half the Yerusha. So there's nobody, he wanted to stop the Chalitza process. No one should be able to do Chalitza. And the Yerusha will be divided equally. And the older brother, Chap,
Wait a
Amalei.
minute, if you give the get, then that would mean then he would do chalitza.
Yeah, the get is not enough to get rid of the
And
Yibam.
if he does chalitza, does he get the Yerusha?
No, then everybody gets the Yerusha.
Okay.
So that's what he wanted.
Yeah.
So Amalei, so the older brother said, my dad, how come you doing all this? Why do I want to even get? You should nixty because you want the property, you have to have the Yerusha. Just say that, I'll give you half the Yerusha. I know, but nixty, I'll give you half the Yerusha. Really, it comes to me, but I don't need the money. I'm not after the money. I want to marry. I want to do Yibam for the brother, Yosef Shemaim, whatever. So let me do Yibam. Don't interfere. And you want half of the Yerusha? I'll give you half the Yerusha. Right?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Is it nice or not?
If he's saying he'll do it, if he doesn't, I guess.
If he said like I don't care about the Yerusha. I want to do Yibam. And you're
Well,
saying,
except what about the woman?
what about her?
She doesn't yarshin.
No,
her husband?
no. A woman never yarshes her husband.
Mhm.
A woman never yarshes her husband.
Okay.
The question was if it goes to all the brothers or to one brother.
So this is like-
So he said, I'll get the Yerusha because I'll do Yibam. I'll give you your portion. Amar Rav Yosef, Chimad Amar Rabbanan of Lisbon, Afagav Gezavan, I have his vine. He doesn't have a din. There's a freeze on the property. There's a freeze, right?
Yeah.
So Rav Yosef said the freeze means even with the Evad it's not sold. Giving it to the brother a present is the same thing as going against the freeze. It's like the Yavam really yashin told the Nechasim. And now everything's Meshuvah to the Kesuvos. So there's a freeze. He's not allowed to sell it. So you're allowed to give it as a present. You can't give it a present either. Can you give it a present to a brother?
So he's tricking the
So-
younger brother.
He didn't know anything. Maybe he was innocent. But
later on.
Rav Yosef came and said, "There's no present." So the Yibam is the Yibam,
So
and the older brother gets the holy Yerusha, and he can't give it away. He can't give it away.
Right. It's blocked from him.
The Tanya Misha Meis V'niach Shomeres Yavam V'niach Nechasim B'mei Amana Apal Pi Kesuvos Eina El Amana V'Yimkor Shekol Nechasim V'Chol Kesuvos. Somebody that died and he left over a wife, a widow that is Chayiv Yibam now, and he left over $1 million, Mei Amana, even though the Kesuvos was only one mana. So he's not allowed to sell anything. Like we said before, that the whole there's a freeze on all the property, and you're not allowed to sell. So since you're not allowed to sell, he had another knish. He said you're not allowed to sell, and even if you sold, it's not sold. That's going to be the sugya now. They tell the Yavam there's a freeze. The freeze means you're not allowed to sell. What if he did sell? Does it take effect or not? That's the new sugya we're going into now. So Rav Yosef understood that since you're not allowed to sell, even with the evidence if he sold, it's also not sold. That was Rav Yosef's assumption. But if the Yavam did sell, there's no difference between selling and a present and the brother. There's no difference. So Rav Yosef said it's not a sale. But Abaye questioned that. Whenever it says don't sell, if he sold, it doesn't take effect. It means you're not supposed to sell. But who says that if he sold that it doesn't take effect? Here he said I'm going to give it to you. So and he gave it to him as a present. Now Rav Yosef came to say that it doesn't take effect. Is that true? Even though you're not supposed to sell it, maybe with the evidence if he sold, maybe it does take effect. But Tanan, I'll show you cases like that. This is the beginning of our parak. That if she got a Yerusha when she was in Arusa, she shouldn't. Basil says she should not. So that's the orange case over there, the green, orange, and red. We said this is the orange case that the Chatchila don't sell. But if so, even though it says don't sell, if she sold, it takes effect. So here too, maybe even though there's a freeze and he's not supposed to sell, but maybe if he did, it takes effect. So that was the question. Machlokas Rav Yosef and Abaye. If Yosef says, "But the evidence is not a sale," Abaye said, "But the evidence is a sale." So they sent this question, this machlokas. They sent this question to Rabbi Chanina bar Papi. Sholcha K'di Rav Yosef. He sent back that Rav Yosef is right, that even the evidence is not a good sale. But Abaye wasn't impressed. Amar Abaye, Atu Rabbi Chanina bar Papi, Kipi Talila. Did he put on jewelry onto the pshat? Means that he adorned the pshat. Did he exprove it? Did he say it's a svara? He just says, I hold like that, but that they know, that doesn't impress. So we have two people, Rabbi Yosef and Rabbi Chanina bar Papi, but he didn't prove anything. So Abaye wasn't impressed that he just took sides. So they sent somebody else. Shalchu l'kamed Rav Menumi b'rei Rav Nachumi.
Was Chanina ben Papi considered a higher source than Abaye?
Maybe
Abaye was one of the greatest.
But Abaye wasn't impressed. I don't know anything about it. But he wasn't impressed to say that if I should give in, like I don't see the raya that it's not a good sale. So they sent somebody else. They sent to Rav Menumi b'rei Rav Nachumi and Shalchu Abaye. He sent back Abaye's right. That but it is a good sale. But he said, if Rav Yosef has some kind of raya as far as send me back the message. I don't see any proof that Rav Yosef should be right. I think Abaye is right that b'diavad it is a good sale. But if Rav Yosef has anything to say, so send me a letter about it. Then
This is who Abaye said, or
this was what Rav Menumi graded Rav Nachumi.
Rav Nachumi? Okay.
Nafak Rav Yosef Dak Pashka. So Yosef went and he checked and he found the raya. He found the raya to himself that even b'diavad it's not a good sale. What is saying the price? The time.
Which is Yosef?
Abaye says, I'm sorry, you're right. Rav Yosef found the raya to himself that is even b'diavad it's not a good sale.
Himself.
He found the raya from himself. The Tanya. Two brothers. One owes the other one lent money. Reuven and Shimon. Reuven lent Shimon money.
Tak veshkach.
He checked and he found.
Oh,
He searched and he found the raya. What does it say? The Brisa says that one brother owed the other brother money. Umes, and the borrower died without any children. I'm sorry. Who's the one who died? The one who I'm sorry. The one who died was the lender. The one who died was the lender, right? And the yavam that's left is the borrower. He's the one in debt. The live brother owed this dead brother $1,000.
Live brother.
The yavam was a live brother. He had a debt to his brother, but the brother died.
Okay.
And he has a wife without children.
Right. He's also and he's also Balchov on the dead brother.
So he wants to say that the inheritance that I'm supposed to get from my brother includes the debt that I owe him. Means he wants to say that what's the issue over here? That there's a Yerusha, but the holy wish is a freeze on it.
Right.
There's a freeze on it. You're not allowed to sell it.
Okay.
And therefore, but he said, well, I got it already. That's
we at Lo Yomar?
He should not say that he should. We tell the halach is that the live brother, the yavam, should not say, "Hold v'shani oresh sakti." Since I'm Yashni, my brother, I'm the yavam, so I inherit from him, and therefore I got a hold on the chov that I owed him. It's like any other property that I inherited, and you tell them to buy land that should be mishoba to the Kesuvos. Again, the live brother owes money, but he says the money that I owe, I inherited. It's like I have it in my pocket. It's like I have it in my pocket already, and therefore I shouldn't owe it anymore.
It's funny.
And even though the inheritance is supposed to be frozen, but this I got already. He wants to say it's as if I got it already, and therefore it shouldn't be frozen. We say no. Take it out. Take the whole Yerusha and don't say that this money. I hope I'm saying it right. Maybe if I'm making sense or not.
Because he borrowed this money. Is that what happened?
He
the
borrowed the money.
Tequila,
Right,
he
he
borrowed the
the
money, he's saying, well,
Right.
now that he died, it's like it's my
My
money.
mind. So I know, you owe, give out, you owe $1,000, give us $1,000 and buy a land of $1,000 and it's Meshubah to the Kesuvos. And Rav Yosef thought this is the best. This is a riot that even if it was sold, you gotta give it back. That means that if you would say that, but if he sold it, it's sold. He also, he got it. It's like he grabbed it. It's like he sold, like he bought it. So it's a riot to Rav Yosef that it's even with the evidence, it's not a good sale. Okay, we're going pretty much overtime. Two more lines. Amalei Abaye, Dilma Tabalei Avdulei. Maybe it's only so here's a little. The words mean maybe they just told him what's good for him. Maybe it's only an Eitzah Tova again. Maybe it's not Mechuyev to. It's only an Eitzah Tova. They talk about what's the Eitzah Tova exactly. But Amalei Abaye Tani Motzian Vatam to Tabalei Avdulei. It says very Motzian means that we to be extracted from him. It doesn't mean it's Eitzah Tova. So it sounds like it's a good riot. At this point, it sounds like it's a good riot to Rav Yosef. That even with the evidence, not a good sale. Okay, to be continued. Other Shalfu has already. The story continues. It gets a nice, interesting story.
Where do
But
we end?
we
What's
gotta
the
tell the
last
word.
bit?
Tell the word Hador. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 lines from the bottom. Hador, right before the last one on the line.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, sorry for going overtime. We'll be
Wow.
back in 2 minutes with Mr. Brewer. Yashikov.
Mr. Brewer on
On Hilchos Yom Kippur.
Yom Kippur.
I don't